You are listening to Kickspot.
All right, what's going on, Kickspotters? This is the episode 3. If you haven't listened to our first 2 episodes, we have Nick from Konstant Kreative, the co-founder of Konstant Kreative, really talking about his experiences, how he led from being a world-class soccer player, football, as we call it in the world.
That's right.
To obviously co-founding the business. And then in the second episode, he was giving us some tactics on how to really grow, the social media, and then, how to really monetize that, I guess, and, make some money if you can. I love that. But I just, even before this, I was going to say that one of the big reasons why I was trying to grow my social media was because of like the free branding and the sponsorships. So I was lucky enough to one day I was running a lot during that time, and then randomly Reebok reached out to me and started giving me shoes, but they were running shoes. And I'm like, man, I really want basketball shoes. We're talking about analytics. Then I started posting stuff about me playing basketball, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, we got these Allen Iversons that we're going to send you. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then as Migs and I are doing quote unquote photo shoots, and then I got like
quote unquote
Express to reach out to me as well too. So I love like the free stuff that I'm getting, as well as, some income that's coming my way through doing it. But I still don't really know exactly what I'm doing. I'm just posting content just because.
Because can you take a picture of me in the Reeboks and the Express shirts that I just got?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, dude.
And so I'll take a picture of it. And so every month, so far, so it's been over a year since I've been getting some free stuff. And then also, they pay me to put stuff on my social media platform. I think that is one of the quote unquote dreams of like really growing the business. But if you want to talk more about kind of the future and I guess the importance of really growing your channels.
Yeah, I think you did know what you're doing at the time, because you knew you loved this type of content. You knew you loved the running. You knew you loved the clothing. You knew you loved what you were doing, what you're sharing, and you were hoping that someone out there would see it, send you the product, which they do. They continue to do it, pay you for what you do, what all influencers want, what all brands want, right? If you're going to show the product that the brand's creating, you hopefully want someone to buy it so that you can continue to do it. If you love what you do, you're going to want someone to pay you to do it, right?
Yeah.
That's the dream. That's what we all strive for. And where the future's going is just literally more of that and being more specific to like what you create. Like, I believe being very, very intentional with the content you're putting out, because everything that you put out sends a message to somebody and you want them to have a response, right? Yeah. Whether it's, I want to continue to follow it, I want to consume your content, I want to buy that product because I think it'll solve something I need in my life. That's the goal of the content creation, right? It's never stopping. It's always going. That's why we created Konstant Kreative. That's where I believe the future is less of focusing on like tactics and changes and more focusing on speaking to a demographic that needs my thing, needs to hear something from you. From Gary Vaynerchuk, he knew that entrepreneur group needed to hear that message, so he kept creating content around it. Guess who's responding to it? Yeah, all those entrepreneurs, right? Same with Virgil Abloh, right? He is a high-end designer. People follow him not just for the brands that he works a part of, but for the stuff that he's about. Case in point, right?
I don't know why I bought this.
You might got it because of the brand Off-White. You might have got it because of him. Something inspired you about that situation to be a part of it, right? And so that's going to continue to get even more and more specific, more and more better. And it's funny because we have this debate, right? You guys are just about to jump into the space, right? Just about to jump into the digital world. And I have brands that we work with that spend $10 to $30 million on advertising a year, right? And they're mama pops in California. We just talked about this yesterday. One of our brands sells baby clothes. They did $500,000 in less than 24 hours.
The jump.
Really?
Yeah.
Just a
$500,000 on. She has great product. She does limited edition. She has a community that bought into it. There's a resale value. Like, she built a brand, and she's been with us for about 3.5, 4 years. When we first started, she was spending $5,000 a month, $5,000 a month.
Wow.
On advertising.
Yeah. That was like, she was spending $5,000
Okay.
across 30 days, which is maybe $100 a day.
Okay.
Right? To a point where we're spending $500,000 to $250,000 consistently monthly. And so that growth of like, she's focusing on product. She didn't veer away. She saw like muted, matted colors were doing very, very well. She didn't change the brand and go copy somebody else. She was like, no, we're known for very flamboyant. We're known for very feminine, and we're known for very specific types of products, and we're never going to veer away from it. But she created such a buying habit and a cycle of convincing them to come back and buy and collect her product that you can only hope for as building a brand. What does Jordan do? They have their staple shoes, right?
Yeah.
But then they do a collab, and then they do a little job, and then people fight to get that back. Same thing with APL, same thing with Converse, same thing with the brand you introduced me to with the heart.
Oh,
right?
Comme des Garçons.
Comme des Garçons. Like, you put me onto that, and I was like, I would love all those hoodies. I would love all those shoes. That's my favorite brand. They do a collab with Converse. You're probably going to cop that canvas, right? Or try to, at least, if you can find it. So that is where the focus is like building something specific and unique to a group of consumers that you know you can satisfy. You're going to build such a strong and unique following. Talentless, the Kardashians, anything that those women do, those women follow, whether they love the products that they create, from Kim and Skims to Kylie and her cosmetics, to the past stores they had, to the apps that they have. Something about them, the consumer was able to feel a part of, and then follow along and say, hey, thank you so much for the entertainment or the escapism that you give me, or the product that you give me. I'm going to buy it from you. That's the exchange. That's how you grow that audience. So like for you guys, as you're going, talking about tactics or talking about business, talking about the Asian culture, like you're going to start finding out you have really strong foothold or really strong experience and connection to these consumers, and you're going to create a bunch more content like that, and you'll grow that following.
It's funny because that was one of my concerns in the beginning when we started this. Like, you know, I was kind of upfront with Jinu, and I was like, hey, I think we have to find a niche, you know, right away. But
I remember that conversation.
Remember the conversation?
And I was against that.
So the only reason why I was asking that, because as I learned through our conversation today, I didn't have anything to scale it with. So, but in my head, I like to think 10 years ahead already, like, because I feel like we were already there. That's just the confidence I have about me, you know, what we start with. So I felt like, okay, we can scale right now, even though we have no audience, you know, but at the same time, because what he told me kind of put me off a little bit until I understood, because he said, why? I was like, all we need to do is just push out content right now. Like, and then we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, and the organic growth that I was talking to Migs about was, you know, we talk about so many different things.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's just put it on paper and just record it and just go with it. And then eventually we'll figure out a market after that.
Exactly, yeah.
And so it was just us it's all of our conversations right now too. It's what we normally talk about in the car or over the phone and stuff. So I wasn't all about, let's just do a basketball segment. I'm like, I don't really want to just do that. Let's kind of diversify it first.
So the way we got to your episode is literally we were on YouTube, and I was talking about the analytics that it shows on YouTube. And then we were talking about, oh man, like, remember I told you, I called you one day, I was like, man, on Wednesdays, like part 2 just doesn't get the hits. Like, you know, as much as part 1 and 3. I was like, why is that? And then you were telling me about maybe a couple things could, you know, alter some of that viewing for your audience. And then come to think about it, I go, well, we can't really scale yet. That was like 2-3 episodes that I'm looking that into, you know? So with Jinu, he was like, let's just push out the content as much as possible, and then we'll figure out along the way. And then I was like, hey, you know what? I think we can get Nick to come on to the show and talk about the science behind all of this. And he's like, who's Nick? He's like, Shanice's boyfriend.
Oh, the other sister.
I was like, oh yeah. It's like, what does he do? I was like, well, he's kind of like
he's in that.
He's in that space. He's in that space, and you know, he's spoken to thousands of people and has helped hundreds of brands catapult themselves. And I think it'd be really, really good timing right now to get us some understanding of what we can do for not only for our show, but also for our viewers and for our listeners, to help them as well.
Yeah,
that's how we got to your episode.
I get it, and that's what this entire discussion has been, is like finding your audience, creating the content for your audience, and then giving them an opportunity to show how much they're into you guys. Like, you go do this live. Think about all the, like, how these comedians start online and start posting. The Paul brothers, Jake Paul, where did they begin? TikTok or Vine. They started creating content. Someone's like, whoa, I think I'm going to give you money to keep doing what you're doing. And then they just blew up.
Yeah.
You guys are in the same space. You know what you are trying to stand for. You as a brand, you're trying to define what you stand for, so someone can exchange money for you to do what you're great at, do what audience you're building. Kind of like what happened to Barstool, the Call Me Daddy girls.
Yeah, man, they blew up.
When
Unreal.
in crazy, like follow that story, and that they built a worldwide brand. They were like the second most downloaded next to Joe Rogan. Think about this, like they came out of nowhere. So they built that audience, and now they're worth X amount of dollars. Anybody can do that as long as you're taking the action. Like you're at home right now, right? Well, we can end it with this. Like you're at home right now, and you have. Listen, if you're a 9-to-5er or if you're working, you know how much you work. Like you know how much effort you put into on a daily basis. There's extra time that if you set aside and you cared enough, you can build something for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. It really comes down to we're in still the greatest place in the world. You have the most opportunity, hands down, in whatever you want to do. Like I'm on career 4 of 10. Right. Like you can do whatever you want. You literally 100%. Can do whatever you want if you feel dedicated enough, or you have the right motivation or the right people around you, or if you just don't give a shit what people think about you. You can build it, right? What's hard is when you start putting these things in your mind going, I don't have enough money, or you know, I actually don't know how to do that right now, and I don't really want to learn it, or I don't want to make it. I only have a little bit of money. Do I want to invest in learning it? That's the
because I need to eat and I need to pay rent.
Or I want to go out. Or I want to go out. I want to have those drinks, right?
Exactly.
Like you are going to have to sacrifice somewhere so that you can go, I want more. The cheesy quote is sacrifice or live now how most people won't for a life that most people aren't able to, right? Something along those lines. So you might put it in now. And we even talked to one of our great employees. Like he has a good opportunity with a lot of things in his plate right now. And he's going like, I think I can focus. Listen, I know that's important, but I don't want to put my time into it right now because I need to put focus, time, and effort into something that he feels is more important. But if you don't experience and walk through it, you don't know how to make it better for the next person.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, it's on you for that next person to come around to know how to do it. So learn it, put the time and effort in to feel it, and then eventually, if you're good enough at it, because not everyone's going to win, or if you spend enough time doing it, eventually you will break through. Then you have side gig number 1, or you have career number 2 that you're able to build.
I think that when people go into a side gig, that one thing that they're afraid of, as far as for leaving their 9-to-5, is can I really grow something from scratch, especially with things that are everybody's in the same space. So for example, like back in the day, if you don't innovate and you're putting newspaper ads, then obviously you're gonna die. You're not gonna survive. That's like the Blockbuster saying, right? They didn't innovate. And I think one of the struggles now is that people are all consumed in just like the YouTube, Facebook, the main thing that everybody else is doing. You talked about Jake Paul. They grew on Vine, and they were one of the first pioneers to start it. There were a lot of pioneers that started there, but we're coming in a space where it's already been created and everybody's competing against each other. So I guess really 2-part question here for you. What should we be doing? I know you talked a lot about branding yourself and all that stuff, but what can we do now? And then I guess the second question to follow up with that is, what do you think the trend is going to be so we can jump on that next big thing that we can grow?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I think diversification and consistency, if that could be the same word, I would do it. So I'll talk about diversification is what you guys are talking about now. Hey, we're going to talk about these things consistently, and people know they can tune in for it, right? That's every Wednesday part 2 comes, and every Wednesday that part 2 is like a tactical or main takeaway I can implement in my life now, right? That consistency, because of your diversification, is what's going to make you as a brand stand out. And they know I can rely on that post, or I can rely on that type of content coming at this time always. Okay. So then the consumer's like, I believe in them. They're going to be consistent. This is the type of thing that I'm going to learn from them each time. And so that's box checked, right? You be consistent with the diversification of what you're going to be known for. People will be attracted to that. There's no other way about that. Then you have what's next. So we talked about this earlier with one of my great friends. We advertise on Facebook and Instagram. That's the majority of the budget we spend. But the new platforms like TikTok, you can't ignore, right? There's a lot of people going there. There's a lot of talk about it in the news, which is raising awareness, whether it's for the right reasons or the wrong. It's still growing awareness. It's been the most consistently downloaded app outside of Zoom for the past 3 months. Of the last 3 months, it's worldwide the most downloaded app. I don't think best, but most for sure. If you consume the content on TikTok right now, it's very aggressive. It's very in your face. It's very, what we call in the industry, thumb stopping. That works so, like by nature, that platform is the way it is, of like dancing or things in your face is very relevant. It's very on trend, it's very present.
Yeah.
You take that piece of content off and go to our platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Snap, that converts because it's so eye-catching, it's so unique, it's so different, it's so jarring that people are responding to it. So you guys go like, okay, how can I use this for my advantage? Well, there's a new trend, whether it's like remember when you like flip the switch where the guy and girl would rotate? Like people were like, oh, this is a trend. Why is this a trend? I don't give a shit why is it a trend, but everybody did it. Like that went viral. If you guys were doing that with your partners and you tied in the brand somehow, that could be wild, right? That could be relevant, and you're now jumping on a current trend.
The flip the switch challenge.
Yeah, but putting a brand in there,
Yeah.
that's smart. That's genius.
Like if I just flip the switch and all of a sudden now you're drinking or you look like a Bang Energy girl.
Yeah.
Like no, like wait, what? That was an advertisement, but that was on trend.
That's smart.
What was this?
That's exactly.
So there's a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
That's how you jump on it quick and apply it to your immediate audience. You do it. Did that work? No? Okay, well, maybe I believe in this. Let's keep doing it. Maybe I have to change it.
So let's say I'm a law firm though. I mean, TikTok is, I've talked to many like lawyers that want to grow their presence, but one thing they talk to me about is like, yeah, TikTok isn't really my demographic is what they say. How does a law firm use TikTok to really grow?
Yeah, I think you have to understand where your medium is, right? Like I think TikTok is a place for anybody can create content there, but it doesn't mean the audience there is a buying audience. Yeah. Like right now, there's brands that might do better. They might have a presence somewhere, but that's not their main strategy. They might repurpose content elsewhere that did well onto that platform, but their main one for that lawyer is arguably going to be Facebook and LinkedIn, right? Because those are the older demographic by nature, by the pool that already lives there that you would advertise to. Do I want to be on TikTok? Sure. If I'm doing bit-sized takeaways, there's a great guy on Instagram. His name is Rob Friend Law. He talks about online law and he makes memes about the trending topics that go live, and then he does in each meme it's the headline, the next image is the things that you'll learn in the next video he's about to play. So he's making content that is specific for that platform. Like maybe on TikTok he's doing 3 things that you need to be careful about when doing an influencer deal, and then he
There's the little things.
1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
He might do that.
Yeah.
That's creating the content that's the way the platform needs to be consumed.
That's
So
smart.
it's really interesting how you shop this up, because like this video lives on YouTube because it's nice long form. People go there because they want to be educated. But then you chop it and do a 15 or 2-second segments, speed it up. That lives on Instagram. And then make it even more aggressive. Like maybe you zoom into the camera and it's you two on TikTok talking about like, what are we learning today? Facebook, branding, and scaling.
Smart.
So that one long form content of YouTube lives everywhere. That's where Konstant Kreative comes in, because we can chop it to whatever the you want. You want a square, you want a video, you want an image, you want you have this big piece, you give it in, you're like, I know I need to be everywhere, but I'm gonna let it live, and we're gonna link back to the main thing, which is the tube. Because you might put the link. What if you guys had a gathering coming up that you were gonna sell sponsorships at, because you wanted to get your community together? You tell like, hey, listen, we're gonna do a live thing in Garden Grove. We're about to bring all these Asian food trucks around, and if you want to be a part of it, cool, join in. And now you grow this large list of people who want to come meet up with you, and then you go back to brands. Go, guys, by the way, I have 2,000 Asian Americans that really want to have Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
You should pay me to be partnered with this and be the sponsor headline, and we're gonna eat your food.
Yeah, you know, when Migs and I went door to door back in our heyday, I always I was always adamant about writing tracking sheets. And then I would always tell people, you know what, instead of selling office supplies door to door, we should be selling this data over to big companies and make a crap ton of money off of this. Yeah. Because that's what business. And then what hits off? Salesforce.
Yep.
That's exactly what they were doing.
Exactly what it
They were
is.
taking
CRM.
all that. Yes, CRM.
Big old CRM. No, we
were thinking about that like back 15 years
20
ago.
years
Like,
ago.
I'm like,
10 years
geez,
ago.
there's so much data here that I could just, I was just in K-Town. And I'm like, these Korean business owners, I bet they want all data.
Oh man,
And it's a niche market too, but
that's what we do at a large scale online, right?
Yeah.
So I see you on
And
this.
so, just to kind of wrap it up for everybody, just give us your next 12 to 24 months game plan. Like, what is next for Nick Shackelford and Konstant Kreative?
Got you. So we have 3 things. So we have Geek Out Education, which is the educational business
saw that
we do, and so we train you how to be a marketer, how to think for yourself, how to make money for yourself. Like
Is that live?
that has been live. So that's 3.5 years in the making.
Okay.
And we do live events. We do online events now since the pandemic.
How much did that cost?
Yeah,
It ranges.
I don't know anything about this. So
Oh, no way.
No, so this
Cool.
is the first time I'm hearing this. So
Let me paint the picture.
Yeah,
why
Yeah,
for
paint
you.
a picture.
So we're involved in 3 businesses that all map up to one core business, which is digital marketing, e-commerce.
Okay.
Business one is Geek Out Education. Partner is James Van Elswick. This came about because I find value in what we call masterminding. I find value in sharing information because that's what we have. Like all you have is knowledge. You either keep it with you or you give it to those. But this is the quote that resonates the most in sharing knowledge and education. A candle never loses its flame by lighting other candles. It just makes more flames.
Yeah.
Like if you can take a candle, light it, and it's just going to make more fire, right? So if there's no sense in learning and winning and finding success and sharing with others in hopes that they share it with other people or they share back with us. So Geek Out Education is because geeks have always been looked down upon as
It's a negative connotation.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like you're not cool, you're not popular, you're not in it.
Now that's cool.
Guess what, dude? I would beg to be a geek from day one because now I'm building code or I'm building websites and I'm making money online and I'm learning how tech works. And I was an athlete. I was a B+ student at best. And I learned all this shit after school.
Yeah.
I went to school. I'm still in debt. Like we
Yeah,
still
yeah.
we still got those issues like private school, all that bullshit.
Yeah.
I didn't learn anything until I was on the job. That's where we live in right now. So this space of it doesn't discriminate. Like digital marketing does not discriminate, and on all levels, like whether what your level, your education is, what your color is, what your gender is, all it gives a shit about is if you're green or red. Green if you're making money or you're losing money, right? That's why we work with anybody that has 3 things. Candor with kindness. It means like they'll be honest and they'll be upfront with you, but they'll work hard, and like you just have integrity, like plain and simple, and like what you do. Like, hey, I can't do that because A, B, and C.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
partner
yeah.
Jake's got the highest integrity. So with Geek Out, people come to us and they want to learn what's happening. So thankfully, with the network we built up, hundreds of teachers that know how to do YouTube or how to do copywriting or know how to do video content or know how to do native or Taboola or Facebook or Instagram or influencers. Like people that are specialists will come and talk and do like, hey, here's what's latest. And we
We
teach.
could be the podcast.
Yeah, like
you know, on Geek Out.
understanding podcast
Yeah.
TV, like understanding how content is distributed or ads work on podcasting. There's a niche that needs to learn that. Cool, check. Education. Second is Structured. Structured does digital marketing for direct-to-consumer brands, Facebook ads and email, right? Very top of funnel, bottom of funnel. Hard stop, it's digital agency, easiest way to explain it. The third thing was through the pandemic, we launched this about 3 months ago. Konstant Kreative is a service where if you need more ad creative or more conversion focused content, you come to us because we create those ads for you. We're doing it already for our brands. We can do it for you as well. And versus you having to hire what we call in-house or in-housing a position,
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Yeah.
Very expensive, and you can't guarantee that they're going to be good for you. And now you're with them for 3 months, at least for employment. Us, join us for a month, get as many ads as you can. If it doesn't work, cool. You can leave the next.
There's a trial, like a 1-month trial.
Yeah, or it's not a trial, but we'll fully refund you if we can't do our job. Like
Oh,
that's on us. Like if we can't earn your business, then it's like not worth it. So then we have the agency, we have the education, and we have the content. My goal for the next, I would say 6 months, let's finish the year. I've never gone through a pandemic before. I've never experienced this in my life.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's another stimulus check coming up. So what we're anticipating is the largest Q4 we in our lives have ever witnessed. Walmart's publicly announced they're not doing in-person Black Friday, Cyber Monday. They're not going to be the first large retailer to do that.
Yeah.
All these other brands have been closing down.
absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? So you have these people that aren't going to have all that income. And for the last 3 months, we've just been educating everybody to go, you can't go to stores to buy things. You had to learn how to put your credit card online. You had to go to businesses. You had to take on Amazon, right? So you're more, now you have a massive consumer base that's more educated around buying online that we, as people that sell stuff online, will be able to capitalize. So now they're comfortable. Before, maybe they had doubt of like, I don't want to put my information, might get stolen. Well, now you have brands. Or
You're forced to do it now.
there's no choice.
There's no choice.
Necessity.
I
Yeah.
can't. I'm not going to
It's a
invest.
necessity.
I'm not going to invest in putting a pop-up in Sephora when I can just build it on my business because I have to go online.
Yeah.
So now money's flowing 2 different ways: brands, money flowing online, and consumers, money flowing online. So it's just gonna be it's gonna be huge. Like I promise you,
Amazing.
it's not just gonna be Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It's gonna be October, November,
It's
December.
gonna be Q4.
Yeah.
Q4
Exactly.
period.
Killer Q4.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
Fact. So if anything, prepare to build, prepare to sell, and just prepare to make money online.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could give people your advice, anybody that wants
Your
to
biggest
join
piece.
your space, or even just as an entrepreneur yourself, or even your struggles, like just what would you like to tell everyone?
Yeah, I think don't be romantic about where you're currently at. And what I mean by this specific is where you are now is not where you're going to be in 6 months. So just go. Like you guys are literally living that right now. Is you might want to stand for something specifically, but you don't know how that's going to resonate to the audience. And ultimately, what matters to us is growing the audience.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a goal. So you have to listen to what they're telling us, or else you're not going to be around very long. Right? And so start where you are. Be very specific in where you want to go to, but don't be so romantic about how you get there. That's the easiest way of putting it. And if you are going to take advantage of work from home, build something for yourself. Like you can get fired at any time. You might even be collecting like unemployment right now. Use that time to build something for you to be everlasting.
Amazing.
Absolutely. That's
Absolutely.
exactly what I was thinking. That's when I called Migs and I said, you know what, we need to do something digitally.
I was
That's
like, what,
gonna be the
boba?
wave of the future.
Boba online?
Well, we
Boba
were
online.
going into starting our own little ramen thing. And
Do
then
it.
COVID hit, and I'm like, you know what? Let's kind of rework our plans.
Yeah.
And then go with something that we're, also good at, which is
Talking
talking to each other about random stuff.
about random stuff.
So-
And let's bring people in when we do that.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is the reason why we started Kickspot, was just because of that mentality. We felt like, a lot of stuff is going to close down, and you might as well start something, separate from what you're doing, because you just never know.
Entrepreneurs just think alike. Like the three of us are on the same page regarding just that type of mentality, and it just oozes out of you every day. And you just don't think like a regular person. No. We're in for survival, but when we survive, we come out on top. Like that's normally how I see us as entrepreneurs. Like even though we started small, I mean, I saw you living at mom's house for 4 years, building all this, traveling, trying to figure it out. And then your girl trying to figure out her stuff too, my girl trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And then fast forward 5-6 years, like just the four of us and Sean, right? Like you see the growth. Like I just saw you last week, right? A few weeks ago. And everyone has a business. Everyone's,
It's true.
It's true, right?
It's
like
true.
everyone just has their own business now. We're just like, where did this come from?
Yeah, it
was
came from the culture.
Culture.
It came from moms, like right,
Yeah.
like she
100%.
she was the first person to be like, I'm a business owner, and
100%.
all of her daughters and her
Yeah.
son, and her immediate us, right, the immediate men in their lives are
Yeah.
going, nah, we got to build for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you either you eat what you kill and you build for yourself.
Oh.
Yeah, 100%. And
Well-
and we were super, super glad that we had you on today.
Yeah, and
You
Nick, if you could, for the audience, we'd like to throw a little plug. So if anybody wants to
here.
hit up Nick, it's going to be
right
right
here.
there. What is your IG?
IG, hit me up. I am Nick Shackelford. Very simple. Or I am Shackelford on Twitter.
And do you have a company one?
We do. We have KonstantKreative.com and we have Structured.com.
Okay, so if I can edit this properly, it'll be like
Yeah, we'll be like all over the
over
place.
all
Yeah.
over there. And then if not, please check us out on our Instagram, because we'll also put Nick's social media pages on ours at _Kickspot. So Nick, thank you very much.
Thank you so
for
much,
being
brother.
our guest.
Appreciate you guys.
Really appreciate it.
Much love, fam.
Thank you for listening to Kickspot.